I had my hand on the safe dial when the front door clicked open. 3 deliberate footsteps on the hardwood. Then a voice I'd memorized, low and certain. "Jacob, I told you not to touch my things." The last time I heard that tone, I backed down. This time, I didn't move. The combination was already in my head. The folder inside, financial ledgers, property deeds, a thick manila envelope with his signature, was 2 seconds from being mine. I turned the dial another notch. He stepped into the study, eyes flicking to the safe, then locking on me. "Walk away," he said. I smiled without looking up. "You first." It was a perfect blue sky Saturday when I stood on the steps of St. Mary's Chapel, suit collar cutting into my neck, watching a hearse pull away. The light didn't match the occasion. Funerals should have cloud cover, maybe a drizzle to hide behind. This was Elliot Cole's father. Elliot was my roommate, my landlord, and, for lack of a better word, my closest friend in the city. We'd shared a place for 3 years, a 2-bedroom bungalow with a crooked porch and a leaky faucet. He hadn't said much when his father died, just that the old man wasn't worth talking about. The service was quiet, family only, except I was invited. I didn't ask why. I was standing in the back pew when I noticed her, a woman in black, 3 rows ahead, looking at me like she'd seen a ghost. She was older, maybe mid-50s, with steel gray hair swept into a tight bun. When I caught her gaze, her lips formed 2 words. Not Jacob. The words burned in my brain the entire ride home. Back at the house, Elliot poured 2 whiskeys without asking if I wanted one. He slid mine across the counter like a bartender who already knew your drink. "Hell of a day," he said. I nodded. "Who was that woman at the funeral?" He glanced up. "What woman?" I described her. He frowned, shook his head, and changed the subject. He was always like that, sliding out of conversations like a fish from a net. But something in his eyes, just for a second, told me he knew exactly who I meant. A week later, my wallet went missing. I tore apart the couch cushions, checked my car, called every place I'd been that week. 2 days later, I found it in the kitchen drawer, under a stack of takeout menus. Everything was inside, except my driver's license. When I told Elliot, he shrugged. Probably fell out somewhere. That night, while he was in the shower, I passed his room. The door was open a crack. I saw it sitting on his desk. Except the photo wasn't me. Same name, same birthday, same license number, different face. After that, I started watching him. Elliot took phone calls in the garage with the door shut. He drove out at odd hours, sometimes coming back in the middle of the night. Packages arrived, plain brown envelopes, always addressed to him, never left in the open. Then came the credit alerts, accounts I never opened, charges from cities I hadn't been to. My debit card got shut down twice in a week. Identity theft wasn't a theory anymore. It was happening, and the thief was 20 feet down the hall. I couldn't stop thinking about the woman in black. Eventually, I found her, Carol Kent, through the obituary guest list. She was a cousin of Elliot's father. We met at a coffee shop halfway across town. She didn't waste time. "You're not Jacob Cole," she said as soon as I sat down. "Hey, I never claimed that." She leaned in, lowering her voice. "No, you don't get it. Elliot isn't Elliot. The real Elliot died when he was 12. Car accident. That man you live with. He took his name. He's been wearing it ever since." My mind went blank. I'd been thinking small, credit cards, bank accounts, but Elliot didn't just steal identities. He stole entire lives. Once you know you're being played, every detail turns into a clue. I started collecting his trash. Shredded bank statements, pieced back together like a jigsaw puzzle. I learned the auto shop he claimed to own didn't exist in any registry. His business was a shell company with 3 fake partners, dozens of bank accounts, and money moving in and out faster than I could track. And it was making serious cash. One night, hunched over taped-together paperwork, I saw something that made my pulse jump. His company wasn't in his name at all. On paper, it belonged to Jacob Cole. My name, my social security number. If it was mine legally, because he'd registered it under my stolen identity, then I could take it. All of it. From that moment, I stopped reacting. I became the ideal roommate again. I laughed at his jokes, nodded through his stories, pretended not to notice the locked study. Meanwhile, I opened my own account. I filed quiet paperwork. I tracked every piece of evidence I'd need to prove ownership. I wasn't going to scream at him. I wasn't going to threaten him. I was going to erase him. The safe style clicked into place. I pulled it open. Inside the manila envelope with property deeds, contracts, and the master ledger for his company. He was watching me now, frozen in the doorway. "You have no idea what you're doing," he said. I looked up, steady. "I know exactly what I'm doing." The next morning, I walked into the county clerk's office with the envelope. I filed for full ownership of the business. The evidence was bulletproof. His own forged documents, his own signature, and my name on every single form. By the time he realized what I'd done, his accounts were frozen. The licenses were mine, and every property deed had been transferred. That night, he came home like a storm, face red, fists clenched. You think this is over? He snarled. It is, I said, sliding an eviction notice across the table. You've got 30 days. He left without another word. 2 weeks later, the phone rang. It was the police. Not about Elliot, about me. The business I'd taken over was more than a shell. It was a laundering front. And now, legally, it belonged entirely to me. They wanted to ask a few questions. When they asked if I knew what I'd gotten myself into, I told them the truth. I took his life. Then I hung up.